Have you ever wondered if the Bible holds dark secrets, hidden demons lurking in the shadows, their names erased from history? What if the ancient texts reveal more than just moral lessons? What if they tell of forces that shaped human destiny in terrifying ways? Get ready to uncover the truth about the demons they never told you about in the Bible. Prepare for a journey into the occult like never before. For centuries, the Bible has been presented as a beacon of divine light, filled with stories of salvation, holy wars, miracles, and prophecy. But beneath its sacred surface lies a darker, more enigmatic layer, one that speaks not of angels or saints, but of demons. Not the horned caricatures we see in modern horror, but ancient entities, primordial forces whispered about in obscure texts, exiled from sermons, and buried in apocryphal writings that the church deemed too dangerous. These aren't merely metaphors or allegories. They are the shadowy remnants of a forgotten cosmology, and their names still echo in the silence between verses. Why were they hidden? What truths were deemed too blasphemous to teach? From the sands of Mesopotamia to the deserts of Judea, cultures have recorded encounters with these dark spirits, creatures that taught forbidden knowledge, incited lust and violence, and defied the divine order. The early Hebrew texts, the Book of Enoch, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and even lost fragments of Gnostic Gospels, all speak of beings cast down from the heavens, banished to roam the earth, or worse, imprisoned beneath it. This isn't just theology, it's spiritual archaeology, a journey into the suppressed, the veiled, the deliberately forgotten. Because to confront these demons is to challenge the official narrative, and to step into a realm where good and evil are far less clear. You were told the Bible was a story of light. They never told you about the shadows. Azazel is a complex and enigmatic figure whose origins span ancient Hebrew scripture, apocryphal texts, and later religious traditions. His story intertwines themes of sin, atonement, and rebellion, making him one of the most intriguing characters in demonology and theology. Azazel first appears in the Hebrew Bible, specifically in Leviticus 16:10, during the ritual of Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. 2 goats were chosen, one for the Lord as a sacrifice, and the other for Azazel, symbolizing the scapegoat carrying the sins of Israel into the wilderness. The high priest would confess the sins of the people over the scapegoat before sending it away, thereby purging impurities from the community. The term Azazel has been interpreted variously as a desolate place, a personification of impurity, or even a demonic entity. In the Book of Enoch, an apocryphal text excluded from most biblical canons, Azazel is depicted as one of the Buri, watchers, fallen angels who descended to earth and corrupted humanity. He is credited with teaching humans forbidden knowledge, including weapon-making, cosmetics, and seductive practices, which led to widespread sin and moral decay. Enoch describes Azazel's influence as catastrophic. Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields, and there arose much godlessness. 46. Due to his actions, Azazel was punished by being bound in chains and cast into Dudael, a desert pit surrounded by jagged rocks and eternal fire. He remains there until the day of judgment. The scapegoat ritual associated with Azazel symbolizes the transfer of human guilt onto an external entity. This raises profound theological questions. Why was Azazel chosen as the recipient of collective sin? Some interpretations suggest that he serves as a cosmic vessel, embodying humanity's hidden sins and moral failures. Over time, Azazel's identity evolved. Rabbinic writings sometimes described him as a fallen angel or a demon personifying impurity one. In Christian and Islamic traditions, influenced by apocryphal texts like Enoch, Azazel retained his role as a corrupter of mankind. 6. The church often sought to diminish his significance by merging his identity with Satan or relegating him to symbolism. Azazel's story reflects humanity's struggle with sin and its consequences. Whether seen as a literal fallen angel or a symbolic representation of impurity, he remains a figure tied to themes of rebellion, atonement, and judgment, a reminder of both ancient rituals and humanity's enduring moral dilemmas. Lilith is a deeply enigmatic figure whose mythology spans ancient Mesopotamian traditions, Jewish mysticism, and modern feminist reinterpretations. Her story challenges conventional narratives of creation, gender roles, and power dynamics, making her both a feared demoness and a potent symbol of rebellion. Lilith's earliest appearance is in Mesopotamian texts, where she is described as a winged demon associated with the wilderness and nocturnal dangers. Her name derives from the Akkadian word Lilu, male spirits, and its feminine counterpart, Lilitu, which were linked to restless spirits or demons. In these traditions, Lilith was believed to prey on pregnant women and infants, causing miscarriages and sudden infant deaths. In Jewish folklore, Lilith evolves into a more complex figure. The alphabet of Ben Sira, a medieval text, introduces her as Adam's first wife. Unlike Eve, who was created from Adam's rib, Lilith was formed from the same soil as Adam, equal in creation and essence. This equality led to conflict. Lilith refused to submit to Adam's authority, particularly in sexual relations. She declared her independence by uttering the ineffable name of God and fleeing the Garden of Eden. After her exile, Lilith became associated with demonic activities. Rabbinic literature portrays her as a succubus who seduces men in their dreams and births demonic offspring. She is also said to prey on newborns during vulnerable periods, 8 days for boys before circumcision and 20 days for girls. http://rele350.vassar edu trover matricus html. Protective amulets bearing the names of angels were often used to ward off her influence, reflecting widespread fear of her presence. Some accounts suggest that Lilith's demonic children were fathered by Samael, an archangel associated with destruction. These offspring, incubi and succubi, are believed to plague humanity through lust and violence. Lilith's refusal to submit to Adam has made her an enduring symbol of feminine autonomy. In Kabbalistic traditions, she represents the shadow side of femininity, the untamed aspects suppressed by patriarchal structures. Her association with darkness and primal instincts reflects humanity's fear of uncontrolled power and desire. https www.soulcruiser.com 2024-0308 Profile Lilith as mythological figure and archetypal symbol. Modern feminist interpretations reclaim Lilith as a figure of empowerment. During the women's liberation movement in the 1960s, Jewish feminists celebrated her as an icon of resistance against male domination. Judith Plaskow's reimagining of Lilith in The Coming of Lilith portrays her not as a demon, but as a pioneer for equality. Lilith remains a multifaceted figure, feared as a demoness in religious texts, yet celebrated as a symbol of rebellion and empowerment in modern culture. Her story challenges traditional narratives about gender roles and power dynamics, offering an alternative perspective on divine femininity. Whether seen as a literal demon or an archetype of suppressed rage and independence, Lilith endures as a powerful reminder of the complexities within human mythology and identity. Asmodeus, often referred to as the demon of lust and wrath, is a figure whose origins and mythology span ancient Zoroastrianism, Jewish mysticism, and Christian apocrypha. His complex character embodies themes of desire, destruction, and cunning, making him one of the most compelling demons in religious and mythological traditions. Asmodeus likely originates from the Persian demon Ashma-Daiva, a spirit of wrath and violence in Zoroastrianism. Over time, his persona evolved through Jewish and Christian traditions, where he became associated with lust and destruction. The Hebrew name Ashmedai is derived from the root shamad, meaning to destroy, reflecting his destructive nature. One of Asmodeus's most famous appearances is in the Book of Tobit, a deuterocanonical text. Here, he acts as a jealous and malevolent spirit who kills Sarah's 7 husbands on their wedding nights, driven by obsessive desire for her. His actions prevent the consummation of her marriages until Tobias, guided by the angel Raphael, uses the smoke of a burning fish's heart and liver to repel him. Asmodeus flees to Egypt, where Raphael binds him. This portrayal highlights Asmodeus's association with lust and possession, but also suggests a deeper symbolism. He punishes unchecked carnal desires while embodying their destructive consequences. In Jewish lore, Asmodeus is described as the king of demons. Shadim, in Talmudic writings, he is depicted as both mischievous and philosophical, capable of cunning schemes. One famous tale recounts how he temporarily usurped King Solomon's throne by stealing his magical ring and ruling in his place. Despite his malevolence, this story portrays him as a figure who exposes human vanity and materialism. Asmodeus also plays a role in constructing Solomon's temple, forced into servitude by the king. This duality, both destructive and constructive, adds complexity to his character. In Christian demonology, Asmodeus became one of the 7 princes of hell, associated with the deadly sin of lust. He is depicted as a tempter who disrupts marriages and incites infidelity. This characterization aligns with his earlier roles, but places greater emphasis on moral corruption within Christian frameworks. 47. Asmodeus represents humanity's darker impulses, unchecked lust, wrath, and obsession. He is not merely a destroyer, but also a mirror reflecting human weaknesses. His stories warn against overindulgence in desire while exploring the consequences of unbridled passion. Modern interpretations often reclaim Asmodeus as a symbol of temptation and complexity rather than pure evil. His enduring presence in literature, art, and popular culture underscores his role as an archetype of destructive desire intertwined with cunning intelligence. Whether seen as a demon of lust or a philosophical tempter, Asmodeus remains a figure that challenges humanity to confront its own shadowy desires. Samael, whose name means the poison of God, is one of the most complex and paradoxical figures in Jewish mysticism and folklore. His roles straddle the boundaries between angelic and demonic, embodying both divine judgment and destructive temptation. Samael is a figure of immense ambiguity, feared as both an agent of God's will and a force of chaos. Samael's name derives from the Hebrew root SMM, poison, and El, God, signifying his role as an angel who brings death and destruction. Unlike Satan in Christian theology, Samael is not inherently evil. He serves as an instrument of divine justice, carrying out grim duties such as tempting sinners, accusing humanity, and delivering punishment. In Jewish tradition, Samael is often depicted as the angel of death, the chief accuser in the heavenly court, and the head of the Satans, a group of angels tasked with testing humanity. His actions are seen as necessary for maintaining cosmic balance. For example, accuser. Samael condemns human sins before God, exposing moral weaknesses. Executioner. He delivers divine punishment, including taking souls at death. Tempter. Samael is linked to the fall of Adam and Eve, riding the serpent to tempt them in Eden. Despite his destructive roles, Samael remains a servant of God rather than a rebel. This duality makes him a figure both feared and respected. Samael is often paired with Lilith, the night demoness. In Kabbalistic traditions, they are described as consorts who embody chaos and impurity. Together, they represent forces that challenge divine order through temptation and rebellion. In Gnostic cosmology, Samael takes on a darker role as the demiurge, a blind and arrogant being who creates the material world, a prison for souls. Here, he is seen not merely as an enforcer, but as the architect of suffering, perpetuating illusions that trap humanity. 35. Samael symbolizes judgment, consequence, and the darker aspects of divine will. He is not inherently evil, but serves as a mirror for humanity's sins and weaknesses. His presence in mysticism reflects the tension between light and shadow, the necessity of destruction within creation. Samael's story challenges simplistic notions of good versus evil. He remains a figure who blurs boundaries, an angel who tempts yet obeys God's commands, a destroyer who preserves divine justice. His enduring presence in religious texts highlights humanity's struggle to reconcile divine wrath with mercy, a reminder that even within sacred realms, darkness serves a purpose. Beyond the myth, behind the shadows, lies something far more dangerous than the demons themselves: the truth they symbolize. These ancient beings, Azazel, Lilith, Asmodeus, Samael, were not always demons in the modern sense. They are archetypes, spiritual forces, mirrors of the human psyche. To the esoteric mind, they are not simply evil monsters to be feared, but fragments of the divine plan. Misunderstood and exiled by religious dogma. Let's begin with Azazel. Branded a scapegoat, he was cast into the wilderness, carrying the sins of Israel. But in mystical thought, Azazel represents what humanity refuses to face: our shame, guilt, and moral decay. He is the dark twin of spiritual purification. He does not corrupt us. We place our corruption upon him, and in doing so, we banish the parts of ourselves we fear to confront. Lilith, the first woman, the mother of demons, the seductress of the night. But esoterically, she embodies divine feminine power that has been suppressed, vilified, and demonized across patriarchal traditions. She refused submission. She sought equality, and for that rebellion, she was transformed into a monster. In truth, Lilith symbolizes raw, untamed freedom, the sacred chaos that births transformation. Asmodeus, the demon of lust and destruction, represents more than carnal desire. In Kabbalistic terms, he is the distortion of the Sephira, Yesod, the foundation of creation, corrupted by imbalance. He is not temptation incarnate. He is what happens when the spiritual is severed from the physical, when pleasure becomes addiction and love is replaced by conquest. He is the broken mirror of divine passion, and Samael, the poison of God. He is the angel who judges without mercy, who delivers death not out of hatred, but justice. Esoterically, he is the guardian of boundaries, the one who ensures the soul's contract is fulfilled. His blade cuts illusions. His presence asks, "Are you ready to face yourself?" In esoteric traditions, demons are not always beings to be cast out. They are forces to be understood. Darkness is not evil, it is unintegrated light. The ancients knew this. That is why these names were hidden, encoded, locked away in apocryphal texts and mystical symbols. Not to protect you from them, but to protect them from being misunderstood by you. True initiation is not about banishing demons. It's about meeting them, understanding what they guard, what they teach, what they reflect within. For the seeker brave enough to look, these demons reveal the forgotten path of the soul, one that winds through the underworld, tests the ego, and emerges into the light reborn, but only if you dare to see beyond the veil. The Bible, as most of us know it, is a tapestry woven with divine light. But what if we told you its shadows are just as important? Azazel, Lilith, Asmodeus, Samael. These are not merely demons lurking in ancient myth. They are fragments of forgotten wisdom, pieces of a puzzle hidden in plain sight. Their names were stripped from mainstream scripture, buried under centuries of fear, dogma, and religious control. But why? Because to understand these entities is to question the very nature of good and evil. What if the serpent in the garden wasn't the enemy of humanity, but the bearer of hidden knowledge? What if Lilith wasn't a demon, but a symbol of feminine sovereignty? And what if the demons we fear are mirrors, showing us the suppressed, rejected, and exiled parts of our own soul. The esoteric path does not offer easy answers. It demands inner reflection. It calls us to look beyond the sanitized versions of faith and enter the mystery, the unknown. That's where truth lives, not in blind light, but in the sacred balance of darkness and illumination. So the next time you hear about a demon from biblical lore, don't just recoil in fear. Ask what truth it's guarding. Ask what part of yourself it reflects, because perhaps the greatest deception of all was convincing the world that these demons were enemies to be cast out, when they may have been keepers of ancient truth, waiting for someone like you to remember. The question is no longer, are they real? The real question is, are you ready to meet them? If you found this exploration into the hidden demons of the Bible enlightening, consider subscribing to Esoteric Guardian for more deep dives into the mysteries that shape our world. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. We value your insights and look forward to engaging with you on these profound topics. For further exploration, check out our related videos linked here. Thank you for watching, and remember, the quest for knowledge is unending.